Welcome to the Rosbeast Rugby Pro Day Dirt Round 18 preview. Yes, after this round we will be 60% of the way through the Pro Day Dirt season. Very exciting, and it is another exciting weekend. Even more exciting for us because we are going to be there. It's one of the games of the round. Come along with us. It'll be on all of our socials, so keep an eye out. But we are going to be at Stade Chanzy for Saxe-V versus Dax. But it's generally, and that's a case in point, it's one of those weeks where there's a load of teams playing the teams around them. So we could see plenty of movement in the table this week. Could be a little bit make or break for some of these sides. One team that has done a lot of moving so far is Oyonnax. They kind of seem to have really turned a corner. Back in pre-season, we would have said this would be a top-of-the-table clash. It was the very first game of the Pro Day Dirt season. Brive won 18-9. It's the two biggest budgets in the league, and it could yet still be a deciding game in the promotion race. Oyonnax are a completely different team to what they were in the autumn. 4 wins in a row now after 5 straight defeats. Brive suffered a truly, truly shocking loss to Nevers in the last minute last week. First home defeat. And they've now lost 2 in a row for the first time this season as well. They've not sent full-strength side. Not all of their big guns. So Laws isn't playing. I think he might be injured. Matthias Moroni isn't playing. Bosch does start, so that's big for them. But they could finish the weekend as low as 6th. It's not catastrophic, but not where they should be. Oyonnax are finally starting to match the names. We're expecting them to flex their muscles here. We're going for Oyonnax for home advantage and the fact they found their form. Talking of teams starting to flex their muscles, Provence have had a brilliant couple of weeks. First away win at Agen, then beating league leaders Grenoble at home last week. We also saw George North start his first game. But it was some of the lesser names that shone through last week. Jules Soulan at 10 was great. One brilliant pass to Leo Drouet, and he kicked his goals that won them the game. Leo Drouet had a double. He's absolutely rapid, so look out for him. As well as Lepeg on the other wing. If they start blending more of that pace out wide and that artistry with the power they've got up front and through the middle, could be a lot of trouble for a lot of teams. Talking of trouble, it was Aurillac pitch that was in trouble last week. Postponement against Mont-de-Marsan. Wonder how that will impact the mindset more than anything. It means they now have a game next week when everyone else gets a break. It means they've had a week off though. The forecast looking okay. We should get a game on there. The kind of cliche of the cold winter night in Aurillac should still hold, though. It's still going to be pretty chilly. I reckon there's going to be a bit of a come down for Provence. They obviously haven't travelled that well this season. Jury's still out on their away record for me. Rich reckons that win away at Agen has broken the seal. He reckons they're in good form, and Aurillac's week off might not actually help them, so he's going for Provence in that one. Béziers had a brilliant result last week. Stade Chanzy hasn't been a fortress for Saxe-V this season, but to win away at Angoulême with a bonus point is still one hell of a result. They played with loads of pace in that final quarter. Brandon Holder, South African winger, showed a load of gas for his hat-trick. And they have run riot at times at home this season. Positivity around Béziers is really starting to build. Kind of the grand history under the new ownership, which involves Andrew Mertens and Bob Skinstad. There's definitely a positive vibe. They are on the rise. Colombier's form has picked up again as well. They're back up to 7th after 3 wins in a row, including their last away game. But that last away win was at Valence Romans. This is a different prospect. Even though they've notched up 3 away wins this season, this Béziers team are a completely different prospect. They are in red hot form. They come back home with all that positivity. Fast and open game. Can't see Colombier being able to live with it. So Béziers for that one. And then Soya Angoulême versus Dax. We are going to be at this game, our first Rosbeast trip of 2025. We are going to see our boys, Soya Angoulême, Saxe-V, the boys in purple. After what was a pretty horrific defeat in the end last week at home to Béziers, I would say it doesn't really cost them in terms of the league because they had that brilliant win away at Biarritz the previous weekend. And if they win this weekend, they could finish this weekend in 4th. The same is true of Dax, though, who also had a pretty disappointing last week away at Colombier. They are a tough team to beat, but they don't always travel that well. They've only won twice away at Valence and at Nevers, back when Nevers were rubbish. Noah Nene is available to play, having been released back from the France squad, but this game is going to be one up front. Dax are a muscular side, a lot of big blokes. Soya Angoulême are young, but they seem to be constantly improving up front. And Saxby actually won the reverse fixture at Dax. They're the only team to beat Dax at home. Their own home form has been patchy. They've only won half their home games. Think where they could be in the league if they'd won a couple more. But we are backing them before the break. They seem to do well at the end of the block because of the unity within the group. Fight back after last week. Dax don't travel. Our big Rugby support for them. They will get that win. Mont-de-Marsan versus Montauban, possibly one of the tougher games to call. Mont-de-Marsan are always tough to call because they are still so unpredictable. And we've got even less of a form guide this week because of their game called off away at Aurillac last week. And we can't even go with the kind of Pro D2 stereotype of like, oh, well, at least they're quite good at home. Because they've only won 5 of 8 home games, which isn't fantastic in Pro D2. Montauban won last week at home to Valence Romans after 5 defeats in a row. But given the venue and given the opposition, it's too early to say they've turned a corner. They still need to hit those heights they did in an early season. Their drop-off in form is quite strange. So hopefully that's turning a corner and they're going to hit that form again. Mont-de-Marsan can play fast and loose. It's exhilarating to watch when it works. It tends to happen at home. It might suit Montauban's game because at their best, they play some brilliant rugby of their own, expansive rugby. But we are going for Mont-de-Marsan in that one. Montauban is still a little bit patchy. Mont-de-Marsan will be fresh and they need to bounce back, so we are backing them. Versus Agen. Nevers are suddenly the form team in Pro D2. I've still not got my head around the win away at Brive last week. I've only just got over the fact that they nilled Mont-de-Marsan in the previous round. They're now 4 wins from 5 and up to 10th. The fact that they're only 10th still shows how bad they were before. But, I mean, I've not seen loads of Nevers. They've got a young side, not many big names at all. They struggled up front this season early on, and I wonder if they're like Soyongolem, they've kind of started to come of age up front. The young pack kind of growing each round. They've got seasoned campaigners at 10, whether it's Le Boys or Sean Reynolds at 10. So they've got the kind of experience to guide them around if they can get the foothold up front. Agen have had a bit of a turnaround themselves. They needed that win last week. It was a great result given they played nearly an hour with 14 men. And it came back from quite a big deficit as well. When they click, they are pretty good. Billy Searle has been brilliant at 10 for them all season. They're just not that consistent in terms of backing up games. And they haven't got great results away from home. Rich is going for them. He thinks that win was a great win with 14 men, and he reckons Nevers will struggle to hit the highs of their win away at Brive last week. I'm going for Nevers. 2 extraordinary results in a row. Things come in threes. They're going to win that one for me. Valence Romans versus Nice is arguably the biggest game of the round because it's 15th hosting 16th. Nice could be 13 or 14 points adrift of just the access match spot if they lose this. It wouldn't be terminal. I think Rouen were about 16 points adrift around this time last year and nearly made it, nearly stayed up entirely. Valence themselves haven't been great. A win wouldn't necessarily get them out of the access match spot, but they have also not been terrible. They're only away at Grenoble have they lost by more than 10 points. And only 2 games in total where the winning margin has been more than 10 points. So their points difference is minus 44 compared to Nice's points difference of minus 191. Valence have also got the highest point scorer in the league in Lucas Mere. They won the reverse fixture at Nice. It doesn't bode well for Nice. Feel like the more you say it out loud, you lean towards Nice more because that's Pro D2. But we are going for Valence Romans. Nice just can't seem to win games, and Valence are actually all right. Grenoble versus Biarritz in the 9pm kickoff. The Friday 9pm kickoff, I think we can now say that stat is extraordinary. 17 home wins from the 17 rounds. Doesn't look like it's going to end either because Biarritz are in a bit of a mini rut. 3 defeats in a row. Feels like that point deduction has really popped the balloon for them. They're now as low as 12th, which obviously includes that 5-point deduction. But concerning thing is that their pack is starting to struggle. Grenoble I would put as the most physical side in the league. Even in defeat away at Provence last week, they look the better side. They look really physical. They seem to win that physical battle against Provence. They're also unbeaten at home. 8 wins from 8. 5 try bonus points at home. Biarritz aren't travelling that well. They've not won away since the first round. Second worst away record in the league. Last week seems indicative of that. Losing to Agen with a pretty strong side out when Agen played over an hour or nearly an hour with 14 men and Biarritz were up. They've not even got close in the end. So nothing is ever a banker in Pro D2, but the signs aren't good for Biarritz. We are going for Grenoble. 9 p.m. Friday kickoff. Best team in the league. It's yards from Biarritz to Grenoble as well. So Grenoble to win that one. So that means I am going for all home wins. There's only the odd argument for an away win, and you can't rule anything out. But there has been the odd round of all home wins in Pro D2 this season. Rich can never bring himself to go full Pro D2 lazy prediction of all home wins. So I guess the question is, has Rich picked the right ones? Let us know what you think in the comments. Fascinating round. Enjoy it while it's here, because we've got a break after this one. So, Pro D2, let us know. Get in touch.